everybody, it's Christine. It is time for day 5 of Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. And well, here's the sketch real quick. It's Kai's mom on internet, good Lord, y'all, Instagram, and I believe that's also her YouTube channel. And it's by Jennifer, and she has, I'm imagining you could either do 4 pictures or you could do 4 pieces. Well, you kind of need pictures some kind of way, obviously, what's the point? But 4 little squares here. Now, she's got a lot of little torn bits, maybe behind here, maybe some mixed media. And this is a little tricky. I think she's got a torn piece of paper here and a torn piece of paper here. And then she's got embellishments that she's showing like little sequins and things. So what I've got here, I'm going to have to tweak it just a bit because what I have is Saturn. I have these 2 pictures. It's me and my hubby. It was in San Diego, and they had this little game area. Now, this was like a giant Connect 4. There was also like a cornhole, or what do you want to call it? Those, you throw the bean bags in the hole, and there was a ping pong table. We played those, and there was a Jenga. We didn't play Jenga very much because I'm not very good at it. But then I have this April 2023 Scrap Room Flavors of the Month, which is Photo Plays Family Fun Night. So it's a little bit on the board game side, but I thought it was too cute, and it goes with my colors, right? Because that's red and blue and green, and I think this goes really good. So I'm going to make this work. And I think what I'm going to do is tear like a band of this and make the squares in the middle and use these papers and stuff. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. My ephemera is a little tricky because, again, it's kind of board game. I'm just going to pretend it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I will need to get in my stash, though, because I'll have to get out little enamel dots or some sequins or something because that's what she's showing. Or I don't think my Nuvo drops are going to work. I don't think I have any good colors for it. So, but I'll then find some other little goodies too. This is what I'm starting with. So give me just a moment and I'll be back on. Okay, gang. So I have my papers here that I've selected, and I'm going to tear my big banner here. So the sides of it. I got a little wonky on the right side. So I squared it up a little bit. I don't know if I show y'all that, to be frank with you. I forget now, but I'm going to tear this down, and then I'll come over on this side and tear the other. I don't know why that took me a second. But I'm going to come along and tear here. Now, it looked to me like on the sketch, I can't swear. I'm kind of looking at it because I think it's either a really wide band or she had 2 narrow torn pieces on the outside. I really don't know. So I'm just going to go with the big wide band because I wanted to use this stripe. And I love this. I think this is really pretty. This is real multicolored, fun colors here for these, well, it's games, right? So that kind of makes some sense. So I did that, and initially I wasn't going to tear the movie strip or the movie film strip piece, but after looking at the sketch, I go, no, you really kind of have to, Christine. Just to go for the sketch, it needs to really be torn. So in a second, I am going to decide to tear the little film strip piece. I've already cut my pictures, but I'm going to trim those down just a minute because I'm looking at it and I go, okay, you're kind of there. But once I do this tearing, it makes my paper just a little smaller, right? So I'll shave off just a little more. So I think my pictures end up being something like, I don't know, 3 5/8 or something. It's just some weird measurements because honestly, it just matched inside the square. So that's all I end up doing there. So I'm finishing up this tearing here. And then I'm going to kind of test out my pictures and I think I don't know if I told you now, I think about it, but I had 2 photos and I was going to use my papers as the other 2 little squares. Oh, here's where I'm trimming those little photos down. I'm just trimming just a little off just to make it all kind of line here. But I'm going to use the little game pieces as one side, and then I'll use the puzzle pieces as the other side on the little pattern papers that I'm going to kind of do my 2 squares with that are not photos. And I think that looks really cute because I'm going to actually use those as little embellishment holders in a minute. I'm just kind of shaving these, y'all. I guess, oh, that's where I was measuring it. And I'm going, okay, how tall is this? I need to make it the same. And I just cut that out. I'm going to end up making these 4 little pieces. Again, I end up having to just make it work because I think I said in the beginning there, this is like a board game type deal. But technically, Connect 4, if you have it at home, is actually a board game, or maybe not a board, but, it's a tabletop game. So in my head, I'm going, these are just ginormous tabletop games, and so we're just going to make this work. So I'm testing these little papers here, and then I realize I'm really going to need a base for it because I just feel like I don't know, they just feel like they're lost or they're not contained or whatever. I do switch these things vertically as well just to see if I liked that. I really didn't because I lose the fact that it's movie strips when you do that. So I turn it back, and I'm going to end up going over here and getting my blue cardstock, and I'll cut into my second sheet of blue cardstock to make a little photo map base or whatever. Again, I might should have cut some of this out. I'll tell you a little bit about these pictures, though. So we were in San Diego at the resort, and they had this little game area. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of pleased because there are kids at the resort, but it wasn't so many that you're kind of constantly fighting to do fun things, if that makes sense. Sometimes, when you go places, if there's kids and you're a grown-up without kids, you don't want to push kids out of the way or nothing because that's mean, obviously. But then at the same time, you're thinking, man, I'd like to play that game, So I was kind of grateful. We tended to go over there. There wasn't ever any kids when we went, so we didn't have to feel bad about taking, the spot of a little child. But they had these really big Connect Four. They had, I think I mentioned, there was a Jenga, there was a ping pong table, and we played. And I'm going to be real with y'all. My husband is very competitive. And he does not let me win. That does not happen. If I win, I win. If I don't, it is what it is, right? I mean, he's not so bad that he'd beat a 4-year-old at basketball, but, he's definitely competitive. So we have a good time, though. I mean, he's not mean about it. It's just, he's not going to let me win. So if I win, I know I actually won, So the Connect Four, I did win a couple because he tends to get, Connect Four is one of those games you got to pay attention to the whole board, or you might let somebody sneak in there. So that was pretty fun. And we did that, I think, 2 nights. Not for a real long time. I mean, we might have done it for 30 minutes, just to kill time and just have a good time. Because it's nice outside, It was outside and they had a little turf, grassy turf space. I don't think it was real grass. I think it was actually turf. Probably just to keep from, if people spill things or do something, I guess. I really don't know. But anyways, that's what we did. So, so back to the layout. I've got that all glued down, that little blue piece of cardstock. I've got my movie strip figured out. And I've kind of got these couple little tags here I'm going to use as little bases for clusters. And then I decided there's these little banner pieces. And so where she's kind of got the embellishment clusters in the upper right and the lower left, I'm going to use the little banner pieces. I'll actually flip those just a little bit when I go to lay them down because I decided the green needs to be on the lower left. So when I actually glue it down, I'll be different. Then I decided, you know what, I'm going to put a big old giant piece of foam behind this, and I'll just make the whole big square pop up. Initially, I thought maybe just to do the photo grid, but then I thought, no, you know what, I can do the whole thing, and I'm kind of pleased with this. I think this looks kind of neat. Y'all see Saturn, she's supervising. She's so interested. I get a kick out of her. So here I'm going to just reassemble now and just, no. So first I got to do the mixed media. Another thing I didn't know initially, I didn't think I might do the mixed media. I saw it on the sketch and I thought, okay, she's calling for it. And I didn't know for sure I might do it, but then I thought, no, go ahead and go for it, Christine. It's on the sketch. Just do it. So I ran over and I got my Mr. Huey's, the white ink. So I'm going to kind of tone down the colors on the stripes just a little bit with this white. I'm going to use the packaging check technique and just kind of mush it around. I'm not going to tell you it's real visible. I mean, you can see it, but it's not like it's in your face or anything. I thought about a color, but honestly, I didn't want to do that because I thought there was so much going on. I really liked the white would just kind of, offer a little bit of a visual piece, I guess is how you might say that. So, yeah, I just use my packaging I just kind of put little drops. Sometimes I'm overzealous and I'll put a little too much ink and then I end up with way too much smushed. So I tried to be smart about it this time and just use little drops and then kind of let it kind of smush around. So I'll just do this top one and then the bottom one, then I'll cut away because you don't need to see me do everything. But I will do the left side over there as well, again, just to kind of match the sketch. Okay, so I've glued down my big square here, and now I'm going to rebuild my little clusters. It doesn't take long. Oh, I add the string to the tag, by the way. I do have some lime green string, and I thought, you know what, you don't use that very often, so let's pull that out. But it looked really cute with this tag. I liked it, and I let it kind of, trail off or whatever. I will use a little glue to glue all that down. But here I'm going to go back in and reassemble my my little embellishment cluster. So the one in the lower right says, if you're not prepared to lose every friend you have over a board game, you're not playing hard enough. I think that's hilarious, actually. How many of you guys know somebody that plays so hard on board games? And it's really, this isn't your job, right? Why are you so wound up about it? But, there are those very, very competitives. Like I said, my husband's pretty competitive. He doesn't typically get upset, although I will tell you he gets hurt feelings sometimes if he don't win when he thinks he should. But it's not like he's ugly about it. So this was kind of cute. It says making great memories and having fun on that little banner, and I really like that a lot. I kind of thought that goes with. And the tag up there, of course, in the upper left says family fun night. Now I will add a little journaling. I think I'll leave it on camera even. And I just put at the resort in San Diego 23. So I'll add that in just a minute. I also got into my stash over there, y'all, and I pulled out some Doodlebug striped buttons. It was in my color section on my scrap rack. And I thought, hey, those are kind of cute. They're yellow. They go with this. They got a little green stripe on them. So I'll pull those out, and I'm going to assemble those as well. I'll end up using glossy accents to hold those down. I have found my wet glue isn't quite as effective, and definitely I could maybe try glue dots, but I've honestly found that my glossy accents hold these buttons the best. So I'll end up reassembling that in just a moment. I think that's what I'm doing right now. I can't tell. I've got a little glue. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, I put the glue on the little banner pieces there, little tag thingies, and then I'm going to put my glossy accents down and put my button there. And I'll just do that in all the pieces. So I'll cut away. So now I've got all that glued down, and this is where I pulled out the enamel dots. And I'll just add a few little enamel dots. The banner pieces having their corners exposed kind of bugged me just a little bit. So I'll add a little bit of the little enamel dots to kind of round off the corners a little bit. And then I'll add some in each of the little clusters. And then, other than the journaling, I don't think I really do much else to this. There is a lot going on. I mean, I admit this has got a lot of patterns. Sometimes I make layouts and I love all the patterns, and sometimes I think it's a little busy. But on the other hand, this is fun and games and kind of action and like movement and stuff like that. So lots of patterns on something like this makes some sense. The white dots are actually matte. So that's another thing I might not should have done, but I did it, is I mixed like a little shiny glossy texture with a little matte texture, but I don't mind. I think it's pretty and I don't care, so I'm just going to do it anyways. This is where I'm just kind of going around sticking these little dots. It's funny to me how that sometimes they just pop, you'll try to get them off your sheet and they'll just pop out of your hand and I'll have to look for it. And so here's where I'm just touching everything, y'all. I like to do that. I didn't find any use for any of the other ephemera. I'll actually have to put that in my stash because I kind of used all my papers except for some scraps here. So those will go in my stash, and we'll see if I use those in the future because I kind of used this kit up. Here's where I'm just adding that little baby bit of journaling. And then that's all I'm going to do this layout, y'all. I thought this turned out pretty cute. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely check out the playlist. I'm sure by now there's probably a dozen, 40, 50 videos at this point. Who knows? This is getting bigger every time we play, which I think is awesome. And we will see. Oh, also on Instagram, I'm at Scrapping Harden. So make sure you check that out. Don't forget to do like and subscribe and all that stuff too. I keep forgetting to ask y'all to do that. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.